Manalangin po tayo. Dakilang Panginoon Diyos, may-ari ng sanlibutan, pinupuri namin ang iyong pangalan. Kami nagpapasalamat sa panalangin at gabay na ibinigay mo sa amin. Salamat sa panibagong araw na ipinagkaloob mo. Salamat din sa pagkakataon na ibinigay mo upang kami ay muling magtipon para sa panibagong kaalaman. Kami po ay humihiling na nawa po ay gabayan mo po kami sa aming pag-aaral at bigyan mo po kami ng makalangit na kaalaman at lakas upang kami ay matuto. At nawa po ang lahat ng aming matutunan ay magamit namin sa pagtulong sa aming kapwa. Patawarin mo po kami sa aming mga kasalanan at nawa po ang lahat ng aming gagawin ay maging alinsunod sa iyong kautusan. Ang lahat ng ito ay aming sinasamo sa ngalan ng aming Panginoong Hesus. Amen.
Good morning po sa lahat ng mga kadete nationwide from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, sa lahat po ng DINS faculty and staff, instructors, professors, sa lahat din po ng academicians in various criminology schools, mga review lecturers, guest lecturers, mga estudyante natin from first year up to fourth year, mga criminologists and non-criminologists who are listening right now. Welcome po sa Bicueno. Ang Bicueno po is a platform in YouTube na nagbibigay po ng libre but comprehensive discussion. Ang target po natin today is to review one of the subjects under criminal law and jurisprudence. Itong tinatawag nating Introduction to Criminal Justice System. I'd like to say again, lahat po ng discussions natin are aligned po sa latest table of specification. As you can notice po, lahat ng dinidiscuss po natin na subject, na-include po natin yung mga topics under the TOS plus isinali din po natin yung mga supplementary topics na hindi makikita sa TOS. Let us not be too obsessed kung ano ang nasa TOS. As much as possible, dapat comprehensive po, holistic po ang approach sa pag-review natin. Because who knows, may mga questions po sa board examination na manggagaling po not basically from the TOS. So, do not be too obsessed mga kadete ha. Baka magtanong po kayo, sir, naka-align po ba yan? I'd like to repeat a million of times, naka-align na po lahat ng discussions po natin, okay? Now, before anything else, give me a little time to promote again yung Bicueno book po natin. This is a compilation po sa lahat ng mga review materials in all of the subjects sa 6 major areas. Lahat po, naka-chunk po ito, naka-arrange po ito per major area. Sa lahat po ng mga kadete right now who are listening, yung mga first year pa lang or second year, basically or generally yung mga estudyante pa lang, I'd like to advise you, kindly procure na po, kindly save money po para at least you can get a copy of this book. This is very important. Do not wait for you to graduate. Sa lahat po ng mga kadete right now who are listening, huwag na po kayo mag-intay makapag-graduate kayo, saka na po kayo mag-review. Dapat ang review, ginagawa po natin yan the moment you are still a student. Okay? So pag first year ka pa lang po, you want to make an advanced study, this is the best book for you. Plus, yung volume 2 po nito contains question and answer portion. Nasa dulo po ito. It's a compilation po ito. Compilation, isang libro containing review materials. At the same time, sa second, sa dulo po nito, makikita po natin ang question and answer portion na compilation po ito sa questions from the previous criminologist licensure examination. Andyan nyo po, makikita ang contact ko po. Also, in the description of this video, makikita nyo po ang pangalan ko po in Facebook so that you can contact me, so that we can negotiate kung ano po ba ang mode of delivery pag mag-avail po kayo. Sa lahat po ng mga instructors, professors, guest lecturers, those persons who are into the lecture profession, available po ang PowerPoint presentation po natin, lahat po ng PDF copy of the subjects, nakasynthesize po, available po. You can give me a message po in return for a minimal price. Pero yung pera po na malilikom po natin from selling these materials, a portion of it will be given to dialysis patients here in Negros Oriental. Hindi ko po hindi ko po nililikom lahat ng pera in order for me to become rich. No. Hindi po importante maging wealthy, maging mayaman in this world. So, a portion of the money that you are going to pay, bigay po natin sa mga dialysis patients po na medyo talagang pobre po talaga. Okay? Now, let us go now to the proper discussion. Criminal justice system, Very easy subject po ito. Check-in lang po. Sa lahat ng mga estudyante, kung ang mga instructors nyo nung araw hindi natutulog, I tell you, this review right now is very easy. Okay? Now, punta po tayo sa formal discussion. Unahin po natin kung ano ang definition ng Criminal Justice System or CJS. Ano ba ang CJS? Diba, Kadete, you can notice inside our community, may mga different agencies po tayo charged in the prevention and suppression of crime. Diba, may PNP po tayo, NBI, PDEA, may korte tayo, may LOPON, may BJMP, so on and so forth. Ang lahat po or ang kabuuan na effort exerted by these agencies is basically part of what we call as criminal justice system. Kasi nag-ambag-ambag po yan eh. May iniambag yung PNP, may contribution din po yung PDEA, ang court may contribution din po, ang correction may contribution din po, ang kabuuang effort. The sum total of all concerted efforts. Pag sinasabi natin concerted, ibig sabihin concert. Wala naman siguro nagko-concert na isa lang yung involved. In the same manner, pag sinasabi natin concerted efforts, yung pangkalahatang efforts or initiative ng mga agencies under the government na charge po sa prevention and suppression of crime. Basically, ito po ang tinatawag nating CJS. Now, pangalawa, ang CJS din po, tumutukoy din po ito sa machinery. Ano ibig sabihin ng machinery? Instrumento. Instrumento ng government. Ano ang purpose sa instrument na ito? Ang purpose po is to enforce the rules of conduct. Bakit kailanganing i-enforce yung rules of conduct? Para ma-maintain yung peace and order, ma-protect yung life, at the same time, ma-preserve yung property. Kasi pag walang nagsasabi that rape is bad, or murder is bad, pag walang agencies na mag-arrest, imagine, it could be a very chaotic community, a very chaotic society. So in order to maintain peace and order, to protect life and property, there has to be an instrument that will tell you that this is the right conduct that you should portray in the society. Anong instrumento na yan? Anong bang machinery? Ang machinery na yan ay tinatawag nating criminal justice system. Okay? So again, ang criminal justice system involves different agencies in the government charged in the suppression and prevention of crime. Ang pagkalahatang effort po ng mga agencies na ito is basically part of the CJS. Ang CJS din po, tinatawag siyang machinery or instrumento ng government in order to enforce rules of conduct necessary to protect life and property and at the same time to maintain peace and order. Okay? Now, very understandable ang functions of the CJS. Basahin nyo na lang yan. Nako, napaka-easy. Prevent and control the commission of criminality, enforce the law, blah, 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 blah. Lahat po, screenshot nyo na lang para at least masave po natin ang time. So basically, may 5 pillars po tayo ng CJS. Sa lahat po ng nakikinig right now, na estudyante pa lang, or yung nagre-review online, especially yung self-review. Pag hindi nyo pa alam na 5 pillars lang tayo, kasi may nagsabi, sir, 6 pillars na. Nako, sampalin ko kayo sa buka. 5 lang po, 5 pillars of the CJS lang po 5 pillars lang po. Pag hindi nyo alam na 5 pillars po tayo, nako, you enroll again in criminology. Ang pillars po na ito, naka-arrange po siya in chronological order. Bakit chronological order? Na-arrange po siya as to the manner of contact of the criminal. So, na-arrange po siya sa first contact ng criminal, second contact, third contact. So, basically, if a person commits a crime, ang unang contact po is usually law enforcement. Okay? Pag may complaint na filed, pag may complaint po being filed, so ang second contact po is prosecution. Pag may probable cause, then ang third contact will be court. Pag found guilty yung perpetrator or suspect, ang fourth contact niya ngayon is correction. When I say contact, doon siya ilagay. Doon siya pupunta. Pag na-rehabilitate na po yung tao, then the last contact will be cumulative, meaning babalik siya. It's going to be a cyclical order, okay? Cyclical in the sense that pag nasa community ka na, tapos mag-commit ka uli ng crime, o di balik ka uli sa first contact, law enforcement, blah, 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 okay? Dapat arrange po yan in chronological order. Alright? So, by the way, ang episode po na ito, concentrate lang po tayo sa law enforcement. Okay? Law enforcement lang po ang i-concentrate natin kasi broad po ang topic sa law enforcement. So, yung four other pillars, i-discuss po natin sa ibang episode. Alright? Now, let's go to the first pillar, yung law enforcement. Ang law enforcement po is charged with the prevention and control of crimes, detention, arrest of suspects, investigation and filing of case, and assistance in prosecution. The law enforcement serves as the front line of the encounter. Ibig sabihin, sa lahat po ng pillars, sa lahat po ng haligi, ang law enforcement po, tinatawag sa the frontliner. Okay? Kasi po, siya ang pinakauna, ang unang contact sa CGS. Okay? Frontline of the encounter with the criminals or those who threaten the social order. They are the arms of the government charged with the enforcement of the law. Naku, napaka-easy intindihin yan. Law enforcement. Anong responsibility? Edi to enforce the law, to maintain peace and order, to arrest the suspect, at the same time, to investigate, to file case, so on and so forth. Ang law enforcement, tinatawag siyang the frontliner of the CGS. May iba't ibang law enforcement agencies po tayo. Napakarami po tayong law enforcement agencies. I will not dwell on this in an exhaustive manner. I will just enumerate the different law enforcement agencies. Hindi po natin isali lahat kasi po it will waste a lot of time. Una po dito, itong tinatawag ng Philippine National Police which is created under Republic Act 6975. Pangalawa, ang National Bureau of Investigation. Ano ba ang pinagkaiba ng Philippine National Police at NBI? Una, PNP is under what agency again? Department of the Interior and Local Government. Huwag niyong kalimutan ang word na DAHA kasi sa board examination, may choices doon. Una, Department of Interior and Local Government. Pangalawa, Department of the Interior and Local Government. Saan po sa dalawa ang correct? Sa dalawa po ang correct is yung nasa latter. Okay? So, ang tama po is Department of the Interior and Local Government. Okay? DILG. So, una, ang PNP is under the DILG. Ang NBI is under the Department of Justice. Okay? Department of Justice. Now, secondly, ang NBI po, tinatawag siyang National Clearinghouse of all cases. Bakit tinatawag siyang National Clearinghouse? Di ba, as you can notice, pag mag-a-apply ka ngayon ng trabaho, NBI clearance is one of the requirements. Bakit po? Kasi ang NBI clearance is a document that will tell the employer whether you have been charged with a crime or whether you are convicted with a particular crime. Kahit nag-commit, ano ba pinagkaiba ng police clearance at NBI clearance? Pag police clearance kasi local, for example, if you come from Dumaguete City and they will issue a police clearance that will certify that you are not incriminated with a crime in that particular city. But there's a new upgrade right now sa police clearance that whether you commit in Cebu City and you will get your police clearance in Dumaguete City, still they have an access and they can tell that you are charged with a particular crime. Pero again po sa dalawa, ang NBI po ay National Clearinghouse. Okay? Kasi po, it will tell whether you are incriminated, whether you are charged with a particular offense. Whether you get an NBI clearance in Luzon or Visayas or Mindanao, nako, it will tell kung talagang you have been charged or accused with a particular crime. Number two, Ang NBI clearance, ang NBI po, tinatawag po siyang an agency, a law enforcement of last resort. Because as a matter of practice, procedure and mandate, the agency normally forwards complaints filed by any aggrieved party in their office to the PNP and only takes over cases when it is very sensational or heinous or the case or cases is of great interest to the nation. Ibig sabihin, may mga pagkakataon po kasi na ang isang krimen is considered to be sensational. Kailan po magiging sensational ang isang kaso? Magiging sensational siya pag it catches the attention of the general public. Okay? Pag murder lang yan sa inyong barangay, it will not catch the attention of the general public. Pero if you will take a look on, let us say, Digamo Massacre in Negros Oriental, the Mamasapano Massacre, these are very sensational cases. So basically, the aggrieved party can actually forward the case from the PNP to the NBI. Kaya, tinatawag siyang last resort. Hindi kasi mangyayari na investigation from the NBI forwarded to the PNP. Nakuha niyo po? It is usually in a manner of PNP and then the case investigated in the PNP is forwarded for investigation in the NBI. Kasi sensational. Pero pag hindi sensational naman, just a local crime, usually po, it falls within the jurisdiction of the PNP. Thirdly po, ang PNP is created under Republic Act 6975. NBI is created under Republic Act number 157. And then, as amended, of course, and right now, the new law which modernized or reorganized the NBI is the Republic Act 10867. Okay? So, yun po ha, mga kadete. Next, aside from these two agencies, we have PDEA. Okay? This is under drug education and vice control na subject po. Ang PDEA po is created by Republic Act 9165. So, ang PDEA is under the DDB or the Dangerous Drugs Board. Ang Dangerous Drugs Board naman is basically under the Office of the President. So, pag droga po ang pinag-usapan, ito po ang law enforcement agency who is in charge thereof. Next, itong BID or Bureau of Immigration and Deportation. So, ang Bureau of Immigration and Deportation po, siya po ang in charge po sa entry and exit of aliens. Itong mga foreigners po. At the same time, ito din po ang gateway to the international community. At the same time, a buffer point in controlling entry of unscrupulous aliens in the country. So, it's a point of entry and exit po. So, pag ang isang foreigner papasok sa Pilipinas, saan siya dadaan? Basically, from the BID. Pag ang Pinoy magtatrabaho abroad, saan siya dadaan? Basically, in the BID also. Okay? Point of entry and exit. Next, the Bureau of Customs under the Department of Finance. So, basically, ang customs mo is responsible in implementing an effective revenue collection, prevent and suppress smuggling and entry of prohibited imported goods, supervise the control over the entrance and clearance of vessels, blah, 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 blah. I hope the time will come na ang agency na ito magiging least corrupt or as much as possible should be away from corruption. Kasi po, ang Bureau of Customs is usually tainted with a lot of corruption issues. Alright? But anyway, again, it's part of the law enforcement agency. Okay? So, yun lang po ang mga agencies ha. But actually, there are so many ha. So, I'd like to dwell only on the mentioned law enforcement agencies. Now, concentrate tayo sa history ng Philippine National Police. Actually, this is already taken up under law enforcement, organization, and administration na discussion. But I'd like to repeat this, okay? Sa history po ng Philippine National Police, we have Act number 175. Ang Act number 175, yan po ang nag-create na tinatawag nating IC or Insular Constabulary. Ang Insular Constabulary, na rename po siya into PC or Philippine Constabulary under Act number 225. Ang PC nung araw, under po siya sa AFP or Armed Forces of the Philippines. Then, in 1966, ipinanganak itong tinatawag nating Republic Act number 4864. Ang 4864 po, lumalabas yan sa board examination. Tinatawag itong Police Act of 1966, which created the so-called POLCOM or Police Commission. Pero ang Police Commission, na rename po siya in 1972, if I'm not mistaken. 1972 po, from POLCOM, nagiging NAPOLCOM or National Police Commission. Okay? Then, here comes, in 1975, here comes PD 765, which created the INP or the Integrated National Police. So, ang Integrated National Police was composed of the Philippine Constabulary as the nucleus and the INP forces as components under the Department of National Defense. Then after that, after 1975, in 1990, nabura po na wala officially ang INP-PC. Okay? Officially terminated po sila. Nawala po. They were dissolved, officially dissolved in 1990 by the enactment of Republic Act 6975. Now, I'd like to repeat again, 4 po na agencies created under this law. Una, PNP, pangalawa, BJMP, pangatlo, BFP, pang-apat, the Philippine Public Safety College. All of these are under what we call as the DILG or the Department of the Interior and Local Government. Also, in this law, tinatawag ang PNP na national in scope but civilian in character. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng national in scope? National in scope kasi po national employee ang PNP. Ibig sabihin, they can be assigned anywhere. Kahit saan sila magta-travel, their police authority will remain with them. Kasi po, national in scope. Civilian in character, it means two things. Number one, that PNP is not part of the military, but of course, it has military traditions, although it is not part of the military. Pangalawa, civilian in scope means na ang PNP will have to adopt the civilian character. Ano ba yung civilian character? Yung maging ordinaryo, being humble, moral ascendancy. Yun po. So, yun po ang ibig sabihin ng national in scope, but civilian in character. So, after 6975, after 6975, punta tayo sa 8551, which was created, which was enacted in 1998. Okay? Pagdating po ng Republic Act 8551, the PNP was reorganized and reformed. Okay? Na-reform po, na-reorganize ang PNP, tapos ang PNP still was under the Department of the Interior and Local Government. So yung sa 6975, pag 72 units ka na sa college, you can actually apply. You can actually apply for NAPOLCOM exam. And if you pass, you can apply in the PNP. Pero in 8551, hindi po kailangan ng 75. Ang kailanganin po is bachelor's degree. Dapat holder ka ng license or bachelor's degree ka, tapos passer ka ng NAPOLCOM. Okay? So, dapat degree. Hindi tulad sa 6975 na pag-associate ka lang, 72 units, second year in college, pwede na. Okay? So, nag-upgrade po. Now, may mga workers po na PNP, police officers, that were still retained in the PNP even with the enactment of 8551. So, nung araw, yung 72 units, pagdating ng 8551, sinabihan yung mga police officers na kumukuha ng 72 units, you have to go back to school and then you have to finish bachelor's degree. Kasi po, yan ang kailanganin. So, they were provided a particular time. Pagdating ng 2009, inilabas yung Republic Act 9708 para ang mga police officers with the 72 units, they were given the last chance, a reglementary period of 5 years na talagang tapusin na po nila yung educational qualification nila para at least they can continue working in the PNP. Okay? So they were given additional 5 years. Pero other provisions po sa batas po that will regulate the PNP provision is still under 8551. Ang amendment lang po sa under 9708 is that yung pagbigay lang po ng extension na 5 years para yung mga police officers under 72 units can finish a bachelor's degree. Okay? Ano ba ang powers and functions of the PNP? Enforce all laws and ordinances, pag-maintain ng peace and order, investigate and prevent crimes, exercise the general powers to make arrest, detain an arrested person, so on and so forth. Kindly screenshot na lang. These are basically functions at saka power ng Philippine National Police. Okay? Ang arrest po is the very basic function po ng PNP. Ano ba ang arrest? Arrest po is defined under Rule 113 of the Rules of Court as the taking of the person into custody. Ano ibig sabihin ng into custody? Dadalhin yung tao sa kustodiya ng PNP. Ano ang purpose sa pagdala into the custody of the PNP? Para ang tao na yan will be bound to answer for the commission of an offense. Meaning, he will be required, ibig sabihin ng bound, he will be required to answer for the commission of an offense. Yan po ang ibig sabihin ng arrest. Ang arrest po, dalawang modes yan. Warrantless at saka yung tinatawag nating warranted arrest. Pag arrest by virtue of a warrant, so basically, it's a warranted arrest. Pag walang warrant, warrantless arrest, or in other term, tinatawag itong citizen's arrest. Bakit citizen's arrest? Kasi po, pwede lahat. Police officer or no, not police officer, even ordinary citizens can execute warrantless arrest. Kaya tinatawag siyang citizen's arrest. Okay? Anong oras dapat ang arrest i-execute? Ang sagot, any time of the day or any time of the night. Morning, noontime, afternoon, evening, dawn, anytime po pwedeng i-execute ang arrest. Okay? Ano ba ang proceeding in the issuance of the warrant of arrest? Remember, under Article 3 of the 1987 Constitution, bawal po ang pag-execute ng arrest pag walang warrant. Unless, pag included siya under the grounds of warrantless arrest. But in general, the general rule is that pag walang warrant, dapat walang arrest. Okay? Kailanganin po ang warrant. Now, makukuha lang po ang warrant pag may probable cause. Pag may probable cause na nakikita on the part of the judge, then the judge will issue the warrant of arrest. Ano ba itong probable cause? Basahin natin ang very highfalutin definition. Ang definition po nito, facts sufficient to engender a well-founded belief that a crime has been committed and that respondent is probably guilty thereof and should be held for trial. For short, when we say probable cause, para maintindihan, ang probable cause po, ito po yung mga circumstances, mga ebidensya na magsasabi na ang isang tao committed a particular crime and that he could be probably guilty thereof and that he should be put into trial. Ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng probable cause? Ang probable cause, ito po ang mga circumstansya. Ito po ang mga ebidensya na magsasabi sa iyo na, hoy, ang tao na yan nag-commit ng krimen and probably in the commission thereof, he is guilty and that he should be put into trial. Ang nakalagay dyan, probable. Bakit probable? Kasi po, kahit klarong-klaro na ang tao ay pumatay, ikaw na nakakita, ikaw na nag-arrest, cannot declare that the person is guilty. The only agency in the government who can tell whether a person is innocent or guilty is no other than the court and the court alone. Kaya nakalagay dyan, probably guilty. Probably guilty. Bakit probably guilty? Kasi kailanganin pa siyang isalang doon sa korte para doon talaga malaman whether he is guilty or innocent. Ano ba ang probable cause? I-repeat natin for one last time. Ito yung mga circumstansya, mga facts or mga evidence that will tell you that a person committed a crime and that he is probably guilty thereof and that he should be put into trial. Yan po ang probable cause. Okay? Sunod. Sharon Cuneta, this is a very spoon-feeding way of discussing the topics. Spoon-feeding na po mga kaditin. Nako. I hope everyone is listening attentive. Pag may mga ano kayo pag may notebook kayo or ballpen, much better po if you will jot down notes. Do not just listen para at least marami po kayong matutunan. Alright? Execution of the warrant of arrest. Ito. Klaruhin ko po ito kasi po may mga confusions dito Now, ang head of office to whom the warrant of arrest was delivered for execution shall cause the warrant to be executed within 10 days from receipt. Ano ibig sabihin? Ang receipt po na tinatawag nito the moment you receive the warrant. Sabihin ngayon ng korte, hoy, Patrolman Juan de la Cruz, ikaw ang mag-execute. The moment you receive the warrant for execution, mag-count ka ngayon, 1 day, 2nd day, 3rd day, 4th day, bigyan ka ng korte ng 10 araw to execute it. After 10 days, bibigyan ka uli ng another 10 days in order to file a report in the court. So ano na ang total ngayon? 20 days na, di ba? Okay? 10 days, the moment you receive it, 10 days bibigyan ka to execute the arrest. After 10 days, bibigyan ka uli ng 10 days para mag-file ngayon ng report. Saan ka mag-file? Sa korte na nag-issue ng warrant. Now, question. Sir, ang sabi ng instructor namin, 30 days na po daw ang pag-execute ng arrest. I will not say it is very accurate. And I will not say also that it is false. Ang ganito po, ang 30 days po na nakasaad sa body-worn camera. Okay? Sa body-worn camera po kasi yan na provision. Ang nakasaad po doon, on the case of failure to execute the warrant. Okay? On the case of failure to execute the warrant, the court will give the officer 30 days to file the report from the receipt of the warrant. Ano ibig sabihin dyan? The moment you receive it, bibigyan ka ngayon ng 30 days to file a report in the court. Okay? 30 days in case of failure, ang sabi po doon. Pero dito, hindi po. Ang total po nito is 20 days, di po ba? 10 days on the execution of the warrant, another 10 days po to file the report. So, pag failure po, so basically, we adhere on the body-worn camera provision na bibigyan ka ngayon ng another 10 days, magiging 30 na lahat. Okay? Kasi may failure Pero pag hindi naman failure yung pag-execute ng warrant, ilang araw ba ang ibibigay sa'yo in order to execute the report? Di 10 araw lang. Koha? So example para klarong-klaro po para klaro-klaro po. Let us say, example lang po let us say, May 31. Let us say, May 31 sa May. May 31, na-receive mo yung warrant. So magbilang ka ngayon, May 31, June 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. So June 10, dapat nakapag-execute ka na ng arrest. After June 10, magbilang ka ngayon, June 11 to June 20. Yung June 11 to June 20, yun po ang oras, yun po ang mga araw na dapat mag-execute ka ng report. Okay? Mag-execute ka ng report sa korte. The moment you made an arrest on the particular person identified in the warrant. Pag hindi mo po na-execute yung arrest for some considerable reasons, Let's say, wala po, hindi mo na-locate yung criminal, hindi mo po na-arrest, according to the body-worn camera, bibigyan ka uli ng 10 days. So, a total of 30 days na. From June 1 to 10, binigyan ka ng 10 araw to execute the arrest. 11 to 30, to June 30, yun po ang mga araw, basically, that you are given the chance to execute the report or to file a report in the court. Okay? So, wag po tayong ma-confuse ha. Yung nakasaad po sa body-worn camera in case of failure. Question, pag hindi failure, ilang araw ang ibibigay sa iyo to file the report? Again, 10 araw. Kuha? Pero kung pag may failure, o sige, fine. Pag may failure, ang saad ng Supreme Court, 30 days from the receipt. Ibig sabihin, from May 31, magbilang ka ngayon ng 30 days. So, June 1 to June 30. So, June 30, yun po ang last day na dapat nakapag-sumite ka na ng report sa korte. In case of failure, pag hindi naman failure, so anong gagawin mo? 10 days pa rin uli. So, I hope klaro ha. I'm really trying my best to make you understand. Second question. Sir, mag-i-expire ba yung warrant pag hindi po na-execute within 10 days? Ang sagot, hindi po. Okay? Unless po it is quashed, it is made void, it has been recalled, blah, 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 blah. So, for example, pag binigyan ka ng warrant for execution today, pag natin ng 10 araw, hindi mo na-execute, but on the next month, nakita mo yung tao, question, are you going to execute an arrest? The answer is yes. Kasi po, may pending warrant po siya. Okay? So, hindi po siya nag-i-expire. Ang 10 araw niyan is basically the reglementary period for the execution, but it does not mean that the 10 days will invalidate the warrant. Alright? So, may execute po ang arrest anytime. Okay? Next, ito po, execution of the warrant. Ganito po. Para mas klarong-klaro pa ha, it will remain enforceable unless, of course, na-execute na. Ano ibig sabihin ng execute or effected na? Ibig sabihin, pag nagamit mo na, na-arrest mo ngayon, tapos he has been put into court, tapos nag-escape, you cannot use the same warrant. Or probably, arrested siya ngayon, tapos pagdating ng panahon, not guilty siya, nag-commit siya uli ng krimen, hindi pwedeng gagamitin yung previous warrant niya in order to arrest him on the second crime. Okay? Pag lifted po yan, sabi ng korte, pawalang bisa na lang natin yung warrant of arrest. So basically, magiging invalid po yung warrant or quashed. Ibig sabihin ng quashed, made void, pawalang bisa. Next, the accused is already in detention. Pag na-detain na po yung suspect, are you going to execute an arrest? It's very impractical. So ano ang ini-issue ng korte? Pag ang isang suspect nasa kustodiya na, ang ini-issue po, hindi po warrant of arrest, but rather, yung tinatawag natin commitment order. Ang commitment order is an order coming from the judge that will tell a jail officer to put the persons identified in that order into custody. Okay? Next, pagpatay na yung accused, that's very abnormal na lang siguro ang police officer that will handcuff a dead person. Death is an automatic extinction of criminal liability. Put that in mind. Okay? Persons not subject to arrest or immunity from arrest. Ito po ang mga not subjected to arrest o na congressmen and senators. Pero not all the time. Not all the time that they are immune from arrest. May requirements lang po tayo that we have to follow. 3 requirements ha. Una, offenses should not exceed 6 years imprisonment. Dapat incumbent yung senador or congressman. Letter C, dapat ang Congress is in session. Recess and the Congress is not considered as in session. Dapat in session ha. Alright, we have a question. Can a senator or a congressman be arrested if he commits an offense not punishable for more than 6 years but not attending during session? Ibig sabihin, absent po siya. Requirement 1 to letter A and letter B, present po. Pero, nag-absent siya sa session. So basically, ang tanong ngayon, pwede bang mag-execute or pwede bang ma-immune yung isang congressman? The answer is still yes. So long as the session so long as the Congress is in session, the punishment of the crime is not more than 6 years. At the same time, the congressman is incumbent. Ano ibig sabihin na incumbent? Yung currently serving. So basically, he will be immune from arrest. So hindi po pwede siyang i-aresto. Okay? Pero mga kadete, tandaan po natin pag kulang po yung requirements, for example, ang congressman, incumbent, currently serving, tapos ang Congress is in session. Ang krimen na nakumit niya is rape. Ang tanong, immune ba siya sa arrest? Ang sagot, hindi. Kasi po, yung requirement number 1 has not been met. Kasi ang rape, usually more than 6 years yan. Kuha niyo po? So, lahat po ng requirements must be met. Next, aside from congressmen and senators, immune din po ang sovereigns and head of state, mga diplomatic personnel. As to consuls, klarong-klaro po, ang immunity po nila is not absolute. They can be subjected to arrest if they committed a grave crime, okay? Or committed an offense outside official duties or functions. So, hindi po absolute yung immunity po nila. Alright? Next, police operational procedures in the execution of warrant of arrest. Okay? Can you listen up very carefully Una po, dapat i-verify yung validity ng warrant and request for an authenticated copy from the court. Dapat tandaan natin, huwag pong kalimutan, ang judge lang po ang otorisado to issue a warrant of arrest. Ang judge lang po ang otorisado. In serving the warrant, the police officer should introduce himself and show proper identification. Make a manifestation of authority against the person to be arrested that you are a police officer. If refuse entry, pwede po, legal po ang pag-break into any residence, office, or building. At the same time, pwede din po, legal din po if you will damage a property in order for you to break out, in order for you to have an exit from the building. Pero pag klarong open naman yan, open yung door, tapos giniba mo yung window because you wanted to go in the window, you want to have an entry in that window, kahit open yung door, that's another story. Okay? So, you will be liable because nag-exist na po yung authority mo in the execution. May ano po yan, may krimen po yan. Next, another thing that you have to take note, the police officer need not have a copy of the warrant in his possession at the time of the arrest. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Ibig sabihin, kahit wala ka pong kopya, pwede po. Wala kang kopya sa warrant, you can still execute the arrest. Next, secure the person to be arrested and use handcuff or anything that could restrain the person. Conduct thorough search for weapons and other illegal materials. Next, inform the person to be arrested of his Miranda rights. Ano ba yung Miranda rights natin? That the person has the right to be informed of the cause and nature of accusation. That's number 1. Number 2, the right to counsel. Number 3, the right to remain silent. So ano ang procedure natin? Una po, the right to be informed. So sabihin mo ngayon, Hoy, Juan de la Cruz, I am arresting you kasi po you have been accused of committing this and that. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, the right to remain silent. So sabihin mo ngayon, Hoy, Mr. Suspect, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you will say will be used against you as evidence in court. So, yan po ang pangalawa. Pangatlo, the right to counsel. So sabihin mo ngayon, ikaw, Mr. Suspect, may karapatan ka pong mag-hire ng sarili mong abogado. But if you cannot afford a private lawyer, ang government po ay magbibigay sa'yo through the public attorney's office. Okay? Pagkatapos po ng discussing the Miranda rights, sabihin mo ngayon, do you understand? In order to affirm whether the person understood his rights. Okay? Next, no unnecessary force shall be used in making an arrest. That's very clear. Confiscated evidence shall be properly documented with the chain of custody of evidence duly and clearly established. Bring the arrested person to the police station or for documentation. Then, make a return warrant to the court of origin. Ito po ang pagpa-file ng report. Then, deliver the arrested person to jail, prison, upon the issuance of a commitment order to court, of the court. Okay? So, ito po, Miranda rights, I'd like to repeat this again. So, for us to be guided, sa lahat po ng police officers who are listening right now, for us to be guided, ganito po ang gagawin natin. Una, identify po ang sarili natin that we are patrolman, blah, 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 we are police corporal. And after that, you inform him regarding the nature and cause of accusation. Bakit po siya is being subjected to arrest? So sabihin mo ngayon, you have been arrested because you have been accused with blah, blah, blah. Pangalawang step, inform the accused or suspect that he has the right to remain silent. Pangatlong step, inform the accused or the suspect that if he chooses to waive his right to remain silent, a waiver of his right to remain silent, anything he will say will be used against him in court. And number 4, inform the accused or the suspect that he has the right to counsel. If he cannot afford the services of the private lawyer, ang public attorney's office will provide him with one. Okay? So, ganyan po ang steps natin. May missing pa po, may panglima. Sa panglima po, dapat you have to inform the accused or the suspect that the execution of the arrest is recorded by the body-worn camera. Kasi po, ang body-worn camera is a requirement po yan sa pag-execute ng arrest. Okay? Question. Is there a need to inform the person to be arrested of his Miranda rights if he flees, runs, or escapes from arrest? Hindi ka pa natapos. Tumakbo na yung suspect. Huwag mong sabihin that you have to finish the whole steps. So pag nasa first step ka pa lang, sa first step, you inform him about the cause of the accusation, tapos tumakbo na. So what will you do? Huwag mo nang tapusin. Ang gagawin mo po is you have to run after the suspect. You have to run after the suspect. Warning shots are basically not allowed. So yung sasabihin natin na, huy, bang, tigil. Luma na yan. Pang television lang yan. Old movies, old classical movies lang yan makikita. But in real life, may regulation po tayo na bawal po ang warning shots. So, pag tumakbo, ano ang gagawin? Mr. Policeman, tumakbo ka din. You have to run after the criminal. Okay? First note that we have to remember, if the person who escapes is eventually captured again, what will you do is, you have to reiterate the Miranda rights during custodial investigation. So, babalik ka uli sa first step. Notify mo yung person why he was being arrested, right to remain silent, right to counsel, babalik ka uli. Once the person is rearrested and is subjected to custodial investigation. Second note, ang Miranda rights po should be relayed in a language known to the suspect. So, pag ang suspetsado, Ilonggo, hindi mag-Ilonggo ka to. Pag Bisaya, hindi mag-Binisaya ka, Brad. Pag Tagalog, hindi mag-Tagalog ka, Brad. Pag Waray, hindi mag-Waray-Waray ka. Okay? Pag Chinese yan, then you have to find somebody who can speak in Mandarin. Yun ang problema. Pag English, hindi mag-English ka. Okay? Yun po ang ibig sabihin dyan. And it should be relayed in a well-emphasized or well-delivered manner. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Dapat hindi ka nagre-recite. Mere recital is basically discouraged. Dapat you have to emphasize it in a well-mannered. Okay? Ina-explain mo in order for the suspect to understand his rights. Okay? Now, the police officer who execute the arrest has different powers and authorities during the execution thereof. Una, the police officer can summon assistance, meaning he can ask somebody to render assistance in order for the arrest to become successful. Even if that person is just a private citizen, pwede po, he can summon for assistance. Pangalawa, again, as I have told you earlier, ang police officer po has the authority to break into the building or enclosure. Pero po, dapat nating tandaan na dito na pag ang isang building po, open na po yung doors and still you manage to break the window because you really wanted to have access in the windows, even if the doors are open. Again, exists of authority during the execution of the arrest may incur criminal liability. Okay? Nakalagay po dito, first, that the officer informed the person of his authority. Two, that the police officer informed the person inside who resides in the building or enclosure of his purpose. Three, that there is refusal of admittance. Okay? From the person inside who resides in the building or enclosure. So pag nag-announce ka sa presensya mo, sabi mo, magandang umaga, I am patrolman, blah, 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 blah. Tapos nag-open ng door, tapos tinadyakan mo yung door, and then it incurred damage. You incurred damage on the door, even if it was open already, there's a criminal liability that you will be facing. Pangatlo po, the officer has also the right to break out from the building or enclosure. This is what I told you a while ago. And then, number 4, arrest after escape or rescue. So if a person lawfully arrested escapes or is rescued, any person may immediately pursue or retake him without a warrant at any time and in any place within the Philippines. So, hindi na po kailanganin ng warrant the moment the person escapes from the arrest. Okay? Next, arrest without a warrant. Ito po yung tinatawag nating warrantless arrest or citizen's arrest. Okay? So, wala pong warrant. May 3 grounds po tayo dito ha. Una, when in his presence, the person to be arrested has committed, is actually committing, or is attempting to commit an offense. Tinatawag itong in flagrante delicto arrest. 2 things that you have to remember. Dapat, una, ang person to be arrested must execute an overt act indicating that he has just committed, is actually committing, or is attempting to commit a crime. Anong ibig sabihin ng overt? Ang overt po, yung makikita mo, Choy. Yung makikita mo, meaning nag-portray siya ng action that he is about to commit, that he has just committed a crime. Yun po, may action. Pag ang tao po wanted to kill somebody through his mind, sabihin niya ngayon, gusto kong patayin yung instructor namin. Basically, that's not an overt act. It's just an internal act of the mind. Ang kailanganin dito, yung external. Yung external act, ha? Pangalawa, yung overt act na yan is done in the presence or within the view of the arresting officer. It is not sufficient that the suspect exhibits unusual or strange act or simply appears suspicious. Mere suspicion is not allowed. Now, I'd like to concentrate on the first sentence. Act is done in the presence or within the view of the arresting officer. So, ibig sabihin, talagang andyan ka. You are present physically. Nakikita mo using your own eyes. So, pag may pumunta sa'yo ngayon, sabi niya, "Hoy, Mr. Police, may nagsisession doon ng Shabu." Tapos, as an active policeman, pumunta ka doon. Pagdating mo sa lugar, nakita mo si Pedro. But you do not see Pedro personally that he was sniffing methamphetamine hydrochloride. You saw him having the reddish eyes. Ang pula ng mata. Sumisingkit yung malaking mata niya. And you suspect him of really sniffing the methamphetamine hydrochloride. So, ang ginawa mo, you arrested him. You state his Miranda rights and then you handcuff him and you bring him to the police station. Question, pasado ka ba sa in flagrante delicto arrest? Ang sagot, hindi. Kasi nga po, hindi mo nakita mismo in your presence that Pedro was committing a crime or has just committed an offense. Okay? Hindi ka po, wala ka doon. Pero, let us say for example, you were there physically. Let us say the crime is murder or homicide. You were there physically and you saw this particular man, Juan de la Cruz, tainted with blood, bringing with him a dagger. Nakita mo, sinaksak niya ngayon yung biktima. Pagkatapos tumakbo siya, pagtakbo niya, you know basically that he has just committed a crime. So ano ang gagawin mo? Dapat you have to pursue the criminal and execute the warrantless arrest. Pasado ka ba sa in flagrante delicto arrest? The answer is yes, because you know personally that he has just committed a crime. You were there. You were present. Okay? Pangalawa, question. This is a question. As a police officer, how would you determine if the act is considered as an overt act of a crime in your present that would justify a warrantless arrest in flagrante delicto? So ano po ba ang basihan? Paano mo malaman ang isang act, ang paggalaw ng isang tao is considered to be an overt act na magsasabi that the person should be arrested? Okay? Ang answer po dito, the court held that the arresting officer must have personal knowledge of the act as recent case law adverts to, personal knowledge of facts, or circumstances convincingly indicative or constitutive of probable cause. Dismiss that the act committed in the presence of a police officer can only initiate in flagrante delicto offense once a probable cause exists. So again, babalik ka po ngayon sa probable cause. Dapat present ka, and then based on the circumstances or facts or based on the different evidence that will tell you that the person committed a crime and that he is probably guilty thereof and he should be put into trial. Okay? Pero pag ang situation, nakita mo yung isang tao wearing a long jacket during summer and he was constantly looking on a beautiful lady, tapos inaresto mo, may probable cause ka ba? Is there a circumstance that will tell you that this person is about to commit a crime? The answer is no. Wala po. So basically, wala kang probable cause. So therefore, you should not execute an arrest. Okay? So yun po ang in flagrante delicto arrest. Pangalawa, itong hot pursuit arrest. Ang hot pursuit arrest po, nagsasabi, when an offense has just been committed and he has probable cause to believe based on personal knowledge of facts or circumstances that the person to be arrested has committed it. Dito, wala ka po sa crime scene. You were not there present physically. Pero, you have the personal knowledge based on facts and circumstances that this person committed a crime. Okay? Let us say, for example, nangyari yung krimen, let us say 7 o'clock in the morning. May tumatawag sa opisina, sa police station, nasasabi na, sir, pinatay ni Pedro si Juan. Ano ang gagawin mo as a police officer? Di ba you have to respond? And based on the evidence and testimony presented by the witness, that will tell you that this person was really the guy who committed the offense. So what will you do is to execute what we call as hot pursuit arrest. Okay? Pero, one thing that you have to remember here, very important. Ang hot pursuit arrest po connotes immediacy. Okay? Anong ibig sabihin ng immediacy? Immediacy po, dapat immediate po, dapat instant po ang pag-execute nito. Ang measurement po ng immediacy should be between the time of the offense was committed and the time of the arrest that was made. Now, ang tanong po ngayon, ano po ba or how long is the time gap between the commission of an offense and the time of arrest for a hot pursuit arrest to become valid? So ano po ba ang required na oras para masasabi natin na from the commission of the crime to the execution of the arrest, masabi natin na valid po yung pagdakip? Kailan po maging valid yung pagdakip? Ang sagot po, dapat same day po yung execution ng arrest. Ibig sabihin, pag ang krimen nangyari 7 o'clock in the morning, ano ba yung same day? Diba 24 hours yan? Nangyari siya 7 o'clock in the morning. You conduct, nakapag-eskapo yung criminal. And then, nag-conduct kayo ng hot pursuit operation. Pero, 8 o'clock in the morning, hindi nyo nadakip. 9 o'clock, hindi nyo nadakip. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, you were not able to execute an arrest. Pero pagdating ngayon ng alas 8 ng gabi, of the same day you were able to recover and restrain the person. You arrested him. question. Is the arrest executed at 8 o'clock in the evening still considered to be valid? Knowing that the crime happened 7 o'clock in the morning and then the arrest was made 8 o'clock in the evening, valid po ba yung hot pursuit arrest? The answer is yes. Pero pag ang nangyari ganito, 7 o'clock on Monday nangyari yung krimen, you were able to execute the arrest pagka Thursday na or Friday, nako, hindi na po siya valid. Okay? I hope you understand. Hindi na po valid, ha? So, dapat same day. So, ang pangalawang tanong nito, when is hot pursuit arrest becomes invalid? Magiging invalid po siya, magiging invalid po siya if the arrest is executed 1 day after the crime was committed or worst, 6 days after the commission of the crime. So, hindi na po. So, anong gagawin mo? Dapat petition ka or mag-apply ka for warrant of arrest. Para at least, pag na-arrest mo siya a day after or 3 days after or 6 days after, magiging valid yung arrest. Kasi po, may warrant ka na. Pero pag wala ka pang warrant of arrest, nako, dapat same day talaga yung pag-execute ng hot pursuit arrest. Alright? I hope naintindihan. Next, last po, ang another ground for warrantless arrest is if the person is an escaped prisoner. Okay? So, pag escape prisoner po siya, hindi na po kailanganin yung warrant of arrest. Okay? Next, let us go to custodial investigation. Okay? Custodial investigation po. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng custodial investigation? It shall include the practice of issuing an invitation to a person who is investigating in connection with an offense he is suspected to have committed without prejudice to the liability of the inviting officer for any violation of the law. So, ibig sabihin ng custodial investigation, you subjected the person into different questioning. Kini-question mo yung tao and you put him under your custody. Ibig sabihin, nasa kustodiya mo. Tapos you ask him about the commission and offense. But remember, mere invitation, ini-invite mo yung tao to go to the police station for him to be questioned. Ang pag-invite po is already part of what we call as custodial investigation. Okay? Now, so sa custodial investigation na, dapat i-observe po natin yung Miranda rights. Alright? Next, penalties for the violator of Republic Act 7438. Ano ba yung 7438? Ito po yung rights of the accused under custodial investigation. Ang isang police officer na nag-violate sa Republic Act 7438, may criminal liability po. O, sabi dito, pwede siya mag-suffer ng 6,000 pesos, fine na 6,000 pesos, or a penalty of imprisonment of not less than 8 years. Nako, napakataas po niyan, ha? Not less than 8 years, but not more than 10 years, so 8 to 10 po. If the person fails to inform any person arrested, detained, or under custodial investigation of his right to remain silent and to have competent and independent counsel, preferably of his own choice. So talagang, ito po ha, seryoso, dapat you really have to emphasize yung Miranda rights. Ganyan po ka-importante kasi pag hindi ka nag-emphasize, nako, yan po ang penalty mo ha, 6,000 or probably 8 to 10 years na imprisonment. Next, fails to provide a competent and independent counsel to a person arrested. So ikaw po yung mag-provide. The penalty of perpetual absolute disqualification shall also be imposed upon investigating officer who has been previously convicted of a similar offense. So pag pangalawa mo ng krimen yan, same crime, you fail to inform him about his Miranda rights, nako, perpetual absolute disqualification. Ibig sabihin, you will be terminated from the service. Okay? Yun po ang ibig sabihin dyan. Next, reglementary period of detention. Okay? I hope everyone already memorized the different time frame of imprisonment from arresto minor up to reclusion perpetua, ha? Dapat napaka-basic niya na, arresto minor. Ang number of days of imprisonment is 1 day to 30 days. Arresto mayor, 1 month and 1 day to 6 months. And then, sunod sa arresto mayor, prison correctional, 6 months and 1 day to 6 years. Then, sunod sa prison correctional, prison mayor, 6 years and 1 day to 12 years. Then, reclusion temporal, 12 years and 1 day to 20 years. And then, reclusion perpetua, 20 years and 1 day to 40 years. Okay? Pag light penalties po, ito po yung krimen punishable by arresto minor. Arresto minor ha, tawag niya light penalties. So pag nakapag-commit yung tao ng krimen na ang punishment is arresto minor, which is a light penalty, ang number of hours po sa detention niya is dapat 12 hours lang po. So after 12 hours, dapat i-release mo na yan. Sunod, 18 hours. Ang 18 hours naman, pwede siyang ma-detain within this period pag ang isang suspitsado nag-commit siya ng krimen punishable by correctional penalties. Ano ba yung correctional penalties? From arresto mayor rather. From arresto mayor to prison correctional. Okay? Arresto minor, light penalty yan. Arresto mayor to prison correctional, correctional penalties po. So, 18 hours. Kasali po dito yung distiero ha. Yung crimes punishable by distiero. Next, for 36 hours naman, pag galing po sa prison mayor to reclusion perpetua. Ang prison mayor to reclusion perpetua po, tinatawag po siyang afflictive penalties or grave penalties. Okay? Grave penalties or afflictive penalties, pareho lang po yan. For correctional penalties, tinatawag din po siyang less grave. Okay? So, pareho lang ha. Correctional penalties, tinatawag siyang less grave. Yung afflictive, tinatawag siyang less grave. Okay? 36 hours po. So, yan po ang regulatory period of detention. Pero may mga exception naman po. For example, pag holidays or extraneous factors like means of communication and transportation, or the hour of arrest or the time of surrender of an accused, inquest prosecutor is not available. So, yung mga ganyan. So, pwede pong lalagpas ka ng regulatory period pag ang exceptions po na ito are basically present. Next, punta po tayo sa search. Okay? Tapos na po tayo sa arrest ha. Ang search po is another very basic activity ng law enforcement. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng search? Infringement. Anong ibig sabihin ng infringement? Violation or breach. Okay? Violation or breach of an individual's reasonable expectation of privacy. Ibig sabihin, the person is expecting that he can do this privately but you violated such expectation. For example, pag nasa loob ng bahay yung tao, so there is an expectation of privacy. Tapos pinasok mo. So basically, na violation. Okay? May violation po. Pero pag isang tao, let us say, walking in the street and you tend to look at him from head to toe, there is no basically reasonable expectation of privacy. Alright? Pero pag nasa isang private compound siya or probably naliligo sa CR tapos pumasok ka agad, that's a violation of his privacy. Okay? Pero, we have to remember that an inspection which does not intrude upon a legitimate expectation of privacy or compromise any legitimate interest in privacy is not considered as a search. Ito po ang sinasabi ko kanina. For example, pag nag-search yung police officer sa open field, wala namang wala namang infringement of the privacy of the person. Pero pag ang police officer, mag-search siya ng evidence sa loob ng isang bahay ni Pedro, tapos walang warrant, may violation po sa privacy. Kasi nasa bahay na eh. Pero pag sa open field, for example, nasa oval, nasa park, and the police officers are searching, wala namang expectation dyan of privacy. Kasi nga po, it's a public place eh. Ano naman ang ibig sabihin ng seizure? Una po, ang seizure po could be the detention of an individual. When you say detention in this, in this definition, ibig sabihin, you restrain the person. Pangalawa, you took the property of the person. Or number 3, you remove the property from the control of a certain individual. So basically, ang tawag po niyan is seizure. Pag kinuha mo yung isang ebidensya from the pocket of the individual, that's part of seizure. Or when you restrain the person, that is still part of what we call as seizure. Okay? Ano ba ang search warrant? This is an order in writing in the name of the people of the Philippines, signed by the judge, directed to a police officer, commanding him to search for personal property described therein and bring it before the court. Ano ibig sabihin ng described therein? Makikita po sa search warrant kung ano po ba ang subject of the search. Pag ang subject of the search is methamphetamine hydrochloride, o di, pagdating mo sa building, dapat you will be looking for the shabu. Sir, question, what if nakakita ako ng, let us say, firearms? Can I seize the firearm knowing that what is described in the search warrant is the shabu? The answer is still yes. Bakit po? Kailanganing i-confiscate yan kasi po, ang firearms, pag hindi po yan unregistered, is considered to be a contraband per se. Okay? A contraband per se, rather. Okay? So, you can actually confiscate it. Alright? The same with warrant of arrest or arrest, ang search po, may tinatawag tayong warrantless search, may tinatawag din po tayong warranted search. Ang validity of search warrant is 10 araw na po yan. 10 araw lang po. So, unlike sa arrest, pag hindi yan na-execute, nako, magiging invalid na yan. Pag mag-execute ka within 11 days, invalid na po. Time of making the search, ito, lumabas po ito sa board examination. Dalawang bagay po ang dapat natin tandaan dito. Una, ang general ruling po dito, dapat ang search warrant should be served during daytime. Yun po ang general rule ha, dapat daytime. Pero, pwede po siyang ma-execute during nighttime. Kailan po ma-execute po siya during nighttime? Pag mag-file po ang police officer ng what we call as an affidavit. Ang affidavit po that will tell that there is a strong necessity for the search warrant to be executed during nighttime and not daytime. Okay? So yun po, pwede pong nighttime. Especially pag, let's say, yung operation ng isang building can only be done during nighttime. For example, pag let's say, bar. Sa bar, it will only operate during nighttime. So, it's gonna be impractical if you will do search during daytime. Kasi you will have less probability to get the evidence. Pero pag nighttime yan, you can have the greater probability of securing the evidence. So, ang requirement po natin, affidavit. Okay? Pero general rule ha, dapat daytime yan. Next, requisites for search warrant application. Again, una, that there must be a probable cause. Ang probable cause po should be determined by the judge personally. Third, the determination by the judge must be made after the examination, under oath or affirmation of the complainant and the witnesses he may produce. And lastly, the warrant must specifically describe yung place to be searched and the things to be seized. Okay? Properties to be seized as mandated by Section 3, Rule 126 of the Rules of Court. Ito po ang dapat nating i-seize. Number 1, subject of the offense. Let's say, pag drugs, drugs. Stolen or embezzled and other proceeds or fruits of the offense. Used or intended to be used as the means of committing an offense. For example, firearms or other contrabands. Objects that are illegal per se, even if not particularly described in the search warrant, may be seized under the plain view doctrine. So ano po sabi dito? Pwede pong ma-seize po yung different objects, contrabands po, so long as it is illegal per se. Okay? Sunod, general procedures in conducting search with warrant. Una, knock and announce rule. Anong ibig sabihin ng knock and announce rule? Ibig sabihin, you have to announce your presence. May wala po tayong general or strict ruling kung kailan po or anong oras dapat mag-entry ang isang police officer inside the building after announcing. Pero ang sabi po ng sa United States Court, 15 to 20 seconds po yung sufficient time for officers to wait before forced entry into a home to execute a search warrant. Ibig sabihin, nagnaka. For example, you will say, you announce your presence. I am patrolman with the whole blah, 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 blah. We are here to conduct search. Tapos, you are going to wait 15 seconds, 20 seconds. Pag wala pong nag-answer, then you can do forced entry. Pero pag may nag-answer naman, the moment you say, we are going to execute, tapos may bumuka sa pinto, you do not need to have a forced entry. Ang sabi po dito, it is advice only that you have to wait to 15 to 20 seconds. Of course, you have to consider also the unique circumstances surrounding the execution of the search. Okay? Next, witness to search rule. Dito po, a search of house, room, or any other premise shall be made in the presence of dapat lawful occupant or pag wala, member of his family. Or in the absence of the latter, pag wala yung member of the family, yung witnesses po at least dalawa of sufficient age and discretion residing in the same locality. Advisable po yung mga local politicians, barangay officials, kung maaari. So, ang sabi nito, sufficient age ha. So, dapat adult po siya. 18 years old and above. And discretion. Ano ibig sabihin ng discretion? Dapat hindi yan abnormal. Kasi pag nag-suffer yan ng psychological abnormality, kahit 20 years old yan, hindi pwede. Dapat nasa tamang edad, nasa tamang pag-iisip. Yun po ang ibig sabihin ng sufficient age and discretion. Alright? Next, number 3, issuance of property receipt. The officer seizing property under the warrant must give a detailed receipt for the same to the lawful occupant of the premises. Ibig sabihin, yung resibo na yan, doon nakalista kung ano po yung property na kinuha mo. And you have to issue it, you have to give it to the owner. Okay? Next, delivery of seized property to court. The officer must forthwith deliver the property seized to the judge who issued the warrant together with the true inventory thereof duly verified under oath. Okay? Lastly, mga kadete, ito, fruits of the poisonous tree. Ano ba ibig sabihin nito? All evidence, ang evidence po, ito po yung mga fruits derived from an illegal search. Yung illegal search, yan po ang poisonous tree, shall be inadmissible as evidence in the court. For short, any evidence that are illegally obtained shall be inadmissible in the court. Yung mga ebidensya po na nakukuha natin sa maling pamamaraan, hindi po pwede siyang magamit as ebidensya sa korte. So for example, body-worn camera, di ba? That's the new requirement. Let us say, sa search, kailanganin po ang one body-worn camera at saka one alternative recording device. Requirement po yan, ha? Tapos nag-search ka ngayon. Even with a warrant, may warrant ka, nag-search ka, pero wala kang body-worn camera. Lahat po ng ebidensya na nakukuha mo cannot be used in the court. Magiging invalid po yung search. Yun po ang tawag na fruits of the poisonous tree. Okay? So, importante po that we have to follow the tenets of the law in order for the evidence to be admissible in the court. Alright? I'd like to stop in this slide. Continue po natin ang second pillar up to the last pillar ng CGS in the second episode. Maraming salamat and God bless everyone.